All right, here we go. We welcome everyone. Otis B Dreds, Bobby to Trill.
What's happening?
Trill, as always.
Yeah, you know.
You know. We're gonna talk a little bit about Idaho 4 suspect, Bryan Kohberger with cheese.
Yeah, and fries.
We got jokes today. What's happening, Tom?
Not good ones.
Yeah, Brian, and the possible, not really possible because there are similarities there between Kohberger and how he's being named suspect and the Delphi cases with the Delphi case with Richard Allen. A lot of similarities there. We've been in a Delphi state of mind
For a while, yeah.
for a while, and things have gotten really, really interesting. And now with Kohberger, now we're not gonna like per se deep dive into this. This is basically just discussing some similarities and some things that's happened with Kohberger. And I want to start off with the Idaho 4 and these Cowboys.
And who are the Cowboys?
Who are these 4 guys? It has been the discussion of speculation here of late. If you're not familiar with what is going on there, a brief rundown. It was late in the evening. Local news station was out there covering the case. There was no cops anywhere. There's usually a cop who stands patrol there at the house, at the murder scene, to make sure the murder scene is not infiltrated.
Right.
I mean, that's your main job.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, there were no cops there. There were, the house was, closed up. There were some, lights on, it looked like. And all of a sudden, as this woman is giving a live broadcast, these 4 guys, one in a cowboy hat. There's just one of them in a cowboy hat. I don't know why they call them the Cowboys. There was only one cowboy hat. Hello, new song, Delphi's State of Mind, sung by Billy Joel. Someone needs to make that AI generated song. That's funny. And it raised such suspicion with the newscaster that she actually had the cameraman point around as they point around to the different rooms, which happened to be the rooms that they were murdered.
Yeah.
That the murders took place. They take and you see the shadows going back and forth. How long were they in the house? It wasn't long at all.
Less than 5 minutes, I do believe.
Yeah, I mean, it was an in and out type deal.
Yeah.
And they take and they walk in, they walk out. The news reporter tries to ask, who you working for? Who are you? Nothing. They very deliberately, cowboy guy, very deliberately walks. Oh, there's a camera. He turns his head real quick, makes a beeline for the car.
Yep. 4 guys clamoring to get in the car real quick.
Right. And one guy you can see has something bulging in his one pocket.
Yeah.
It looks very odd.
Yeah,
it's not car keys. It's not it's something pretty big.
It's not his manhood.
It's not his manhood. No. And also is gripping something in his hand.
Yeah.
Could that be, a glove that he had? Who knows? We don't know.
Right.
But what makes this interesting is that we don't know who the fuck these guys are. Has it been a minute? Yeah, it's been 5 minutes. I can so you have these guys walk in, they walk out, they don't identify themselves, they don't have badges, they don't talk to anyone.
There's no like lead investigator taking them through the crime
No,
scene.
which seems that would be standard operating procedure.
You'd think so.
No matter who it is.
Somebody badged.
Somebody in there, walking them through. So that's been. I would like to know, your thoughts. Every we don't need no stinking patches. Oh
That's what
my,
they were like too.
that's exactly what they were like, man. Just running into that house and running back out.
Right.
There's a lot of strange shit going on with true crime cases. We were
There
just
is.
discussing
Yeah.
that. A lot of weird stuff. So you have that going on.
Yeah.
The car that was supposedly seen by their neighbor's camera, a white it's an Elantra,
I
right?
think so.
Yeah, a white
Hyundai.
Elantra, I guess, was seen in the area roughly
Yeah.
around that time. And we're going to go through some of again, we're not going to deep dive, but there are a few things that really strike us odd.
Real odd. Yeah. There's
Very
some weird
odd.
stuff going
And,
on.
the car being one, how they connected that particular white Elantra that was seen in the area that night and the one that Kohberger owns.
Mhm.
I still don't know how they connected the two
I don't know how
because
they
there's
did
no
either.
DNA anywhere.
There doesn't seem to be, at least from what they've said. They didn't find any DNA in the car.
Nothing in the
When we
car.
saw it on the traffic stop, that car, they got the traffic stop when they were driving back to Pennsylvania. That car is filthy on the outside, man. There's dirt all over it.
Yeah.
I know as a car owner and have somebody washes cars all the time, how long it takes to get them that messy, man. It didn't appear that this guy even tried to clean up his car until he got to Pennsylvania. Yeah,
Mhm.
it looked messy. I don't know how they connected the two.
I
I'm not sure.
really,
I
yeah.
know that there was something about somebody on his campus, like a security or something, phoned in the tip on his car or
The
something like that.
WSU campus when he
Yeah.
was there, and that's when they stopped him there.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
he was, if you don't know and you're not familiar with this case, Bryan Kohberger was a professor or
He was in school for criminal psychology.
oh, okay, criminal
He was taking
which
classes.
is go figure, right?
Weird.
Um,
Yeah, it's really Bundy like, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah, very
law
much so.
student, yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't really know, at least that I know of, the connection between the car that was spotted on the ring or whatever it was, the camera, and Kohberger. And we also have, which I want to talk a little bit about, is the two remaining roommates.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that they were directly implicated in this, but there are some very odd things that happen.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, this happened right across from one of the roommates. These
Right across
murders.
the hall. Go out into your hallway and look at how there's not much of a distance there. You're going to hear that first of all.
Yeah.
You're going. But she did by her own admission. I heard something strange. I looked out. This dude, walked by me. He was wearing this mask over his nose and his mouth. He saw me. I saw him. Didn't do nothing to me. Walked right out of the back door. I mean, my first question for that is, why would he have done that? If you just killed these people, these 4 people, and you're walking past, how do you know she's not going to go immediately to the window and get your license plate number or look at the
Right.
car that you're driving, watch you the whole way you're going out there? It's weird. Why did it take 8 hours for her to make a phone call to the police if she was so scared that she locked her door? She didn't send a text to any one of these roommates, nothing. Didn't try to call him, didn't go over to Zaina's room and knock on the door. Hey, are you okay? Nothing. In 8 hours?
Yeah.
That's weird to me too. I don't want to put blame on anybody either, but man, that's weird. And you need some
Just seems
answers
like an
for
odd
that.
response to something like that. And if for a second, if you viewers put yourself, welcome Mandy. I don't think he saw her. Oh, okay.
It could be.
That's a possibility. That's a really good possibility.
But that's weird considering that she could see his eyebrows, his bushy eyebrows. Was she close enough? He didn't just
Yeah,
look
because
over,
yeah.
didn't check the other rooms, nothing.
It
Could
does
go either way.
It does seem odd that you hear these, and it was said that she heard somebody say, "Okay, hold on, I'll help you."
Yeah. And who was saying that, I wonder?
Who was saying that?
Was that a killer telling the other killer, "Hold on, I'm gonna help you"?
Yeah, maybe that was when he ran into Ethan.
Yeah,
Ethan put
could have been.
up a little bit of fight. If she was in, Mandy says if she was in, maybe, which say I don't think he saw her. If she was in the dark shadow of the doorway,
Could be.
I mean that is very possible. Again, all we can do now, like the Delphi, is speculate.
Speculate, that's it.
Until this all goes to the trial.
Yeah.
Um,
But she said it herself that she was scared. She went back and locked the door, but didn't make any effort in that fear
she texted
of
the other
reaching there.
survivor.
Yeah, her and the other girl who were
Bethany.
survivors were texting at 4:00 in the morning, each other. And she hears this going on, doesn't tell her nothing about it over a text, or doesn't try to text or contact any of the other neighbors to go, "Hey, what's going on? Is there a party going on? Do you guys got visitors? I'm scared. I just saw this dude walk by me wearing a ski mask. I'm scared." Nothing like that. And 8 hours to call the police when you're scared, when she's actually said that she was very fearful.
One of the victims again was found in the doorway, possibly Zaina.
I think Zaina's room. Yeah.
One of them was in a bedroom doorway. And she and was it oh, not Bethany, the other one.
Dylan.
Yeah. States that she had trouble, or no, because it was Bethany that actually called 911
Right.
off of Dylan's phone.
Right.
States that she couldn't get one of her roommates up. This was an absolute bloodbath.
Slaughter, yeah.
According to, what we've heard so far. Did you just call in that your roommate is unresponsive?
The only way
that seems weird to me.
The only way I can see that is if they just went and knocked on the door constantly and wasn't getting an answer or something. But seeing as the previous night's events where the other roommate was very scared and stuff, and now you can't get a hold of these people, it seemed to me like your response would be a little more than, "I can't wake my roommate up."
Mm-hmm.
Something happened here last night. Look, I don't know what it was. I've been scared to death for the last 8 hours. There was none of that.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I'm just, as from human to human, just put yourself in those shoes.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody whose response would ever be like that.
If I heard something, and I'm sure, I'm not alone, but if I heard something in the other room, if I'm in the bedroom and I hear something, I mean, if I hear one of the cats knock something over, I'm thinking, all right, it's a home invasion. But that's just how my mind works.
Right. Yeah, I understand they
I'm on high alert. And especially, and then you put yourself, in Dylan's shoes, where it was said she heard people there was, I don't know, did she describe it as screaming?
She crying, I do believe.
Crying? Okay. So there's some signs of distress.
Yeah. A lot of noise.
A lot of noise, some signs of distress, a male's voice that you recognize as not being Ethan's.
Right. Yeah.
Or maybe you thought it was either, again, this is a party house, this is a college town. I'm pretty sure they knew who the occupants were.
Right.
Ethan did not live there, if you're not familiar with the case. And so it just, God.
And
Mandy mentions, do we know if Dylan was drunk or on something?
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Maybe she was drunk from partying that night, had some earbuds in. I don't, again, we don't know. I mean, we're only questioning her response to this, like everybody did in the beginning. and her reaction to these noises, and
kind of a what would I do in that situation
yeah,
kind of thing. I would be at least concerned enough to reach out to one of the roommates or all of the roommates and say, "Hey, are you guys doing good? Just want to know what's going on tonight." Something like that. If she's really in fear, like she said she was,
mhm.
scared.
Right. Welcome, Kelly. Kelly says, and you physically see a dude leave one of the rooms that scared you enough to go want to hide back in your room and lock the door.
Yeah.
I mean, it freaked her out that much. Why not at that point call 911?
Yeah. I would
Man, I
say.
just seen somebody that I didn't recognize come through my house. I heard some crying, some screaming,
Yeah.
some rustling around, a
Yeah.
strange voice I didn't recognize. Why is that not the time to call the
Right.
police?
Yeah. Can't even, like I said, text Zana and say, "Hey, I just saw this dude coming from your room. Is everything all right?" Something as simple as that. If you're that concerned and that fearful, man, I would think you're going to do something to make sure everything's okay before you go
Yes.
to sleep.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
That's just me though, man. I know everybody's not built the same, but
No, that's
I
true.
would hope that they're a college student is a little bit better built than that mentally to actually put two and two together
Right.
and think something's not right here. This never happens. I've lived in this house for this long or whatever. And
Right.
I know it's a party house and maybe
Sure.
they do have people coming and going all the time. But a dude in the mask, after you get on hearing somebody cry, you're in fear. You go back into your room, you lock the door, and just sit on it for 8 hours. And the next day, when the police get a phone call, the phone call is, "I can't wake my roommates up." That kind of, it's weird. It's just like the ladder thing outside. It's all weird. There's a lot of weirdness
The
going
ladder,
on.
yeah, yeah, the instance with the ladder, there was some you know, noise complaints that happened, I believe, earlier that night.
Yeah.
Cops had come out, and you can see from, I believe it was the body cam, them, cops walking around. Ladder is laying down. This is just an A-frame ladder,
Yeah.
probably like a 6-foot
Yeah.
ladder.
6 foot or something like that.
It was laying down on its side, leaning up against the side of the house. If you walk to the doors on the right side of the house, like as you were going to walk up to go into
Right.
the back sliding door where the kitchen is. Ladder was laying down. Next day, when the crime was discovered, the ladder is leaning up.
Yeah. It's actually on the house. Like somebody could climb up
Like
and get
somebody
right
could
on the roof.
climb up, jump up there.
Yeah.
Um,
And they could get right into the windows.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe there's some bedroom windows. There's access to the house if climbed up on that, I guess the bottom, because this is a tri-level, to climb up there. So welcome, Ruby. Ruby says she's young, scared, and could have cuddled in the corner. Inexperience of stressful life experience. That's a possibility. Yes, I'm not going to deny that. But to play devil's advocate, Ruby, nobody's really prepared for something like that.
Right.
So if you're scared, the first thing to do is call for help.
Yeah.
What would be my guess? Now, again, like you said, we're not all built the same.
Right.
Maybe she was, had, very, she never dealt with anything like that. Most of us haven't.
Right.
Majority of people do not go through something like this. So it is hard to say what you would do in that situation. What I would do is probably call the cops.
Right.
There's an intruder here. I'm not going to face this person, especially being a young early 20s, female. And it's not a shot to females, but you're not going to take on, especially if you hear a male's voice that you don't recognize. All right.
Right.
You would think that, she would just make the, a 911 call. But like you said, it wasn't until about 11 to noon
Right.
that morning, later on that
Yeah.
day, because this is about 4 o'clock in the
Yeah.
morning.
I think they said 11:58 was when that
Yeah,
call came in.
and that's a little odd.
Yeah, it
So
is a bit odd. It's just an oddity. Something to talk about when you're discussing the case. Kohberger, I would say he's innocent. I don't know. My question about it is there more than one person
mhm,
with the ladder, with the two separate rooms, 4 victims? And we've been seeing a lot of that lately. Multiple
mhm,
victim stuff is odd for one
mhm.
person. Yeah, I mean, I know that like Kemper did.
Sure.
There's certain people who
Kemper's a
have.
big dude, though.
Yeah, he's a
He
massive
he
guy.
could take
Yeah,
3 or 4 people at once.
yeah,
He's intimidating.
he is a massive fella. But
You said fella.
feller.
We got to bring that back.
I'm
Feller.
trying my best to
Yeah.
bring feller back.
I'm trying to bring word back. I say
Yeah,
it a lot.
you do.
Nobody's catching on.
Nobody
But
says groovy anymore.
oh, God,
I love
we
groovy.
got to bring that back.
Yeah, I'd say.
Anyway,
Let's
so yeah, I mean, there is a lot of
And who are the Cowboys? Who are these guys who came into the
that.
scene? What were they doing
That's
there?
the biggest question
weird.
I have right now. Welcome, Tanya.
I am interested in this. Like I said, just about anybody else out there knows more about, because there's been so much happen in the Delphi case here lately that I'm off on this by a couple weeks.
I am as well.
So it's all the stuff that's bizarre now was the same thing kind of that was bizarre to me in the beginning. The roommates reaction, the
Mhm.
ladder stuff,
The no DNA.
yeah, exactly. And I heard rumors. I don't know if this is true. People who were more into the case would know that they found 3 other DNAs in the house, male DNAs. But like I said, it was a party house, so it could just about
It
be
could have
anybody.
been,
Who hung
yeah.
out
I
with
mean,
them.
they could have exhausted those leads. Although the person had never been, if whoever's DNA this was that they found, if they hadn't been
Right,
arrested and were not in the codex system, it's gonna be kind of hard,
right. Yeah.
to take. You mentioned something before we get into the comparison of Kohberger being a suspect and Richard Allen being a suspect in Delphi, and how it's kind of shady. You had mentioned, I forgot where the hell I was going with that.
I don't know, brother. I don't remember what I mentioned. That's what you get when you only have 5 brain cells and they're fighting.
They're constantly arguing.
Yeah,
Damn it, what was it? It was a good point too.
I had a good point. No way.
No, I swear.
Surely not.
Trill as ever. God damn, what was that point? Oh,
Are we talking about Idaho?
yes.
Well, I don't know.
All right, let's
What
see.
the
You
point
get, you get the cars, the ladder,
the Cowboys,
the Cowboys, the survivors.
Man, I don't know. What are we missing here besides everything?
Besides everything. All right. Well, let's just.
Yeah, we'll think about it later.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It'll come up. So we have Kohberger with cheese.
Yep, and fries.
And fries.
And a Pepsi.
Yeah, Pepsi. Being suspected of this. Not a whole lot of DNA.
No,
Not any DNA.
From what I'm hearing.
No weapon.
Yeah.
The sheath had a little bit of DNA on it. Not that all they could tell was that it was a male.
Yeah. And I do remember, man, that they were in a really big bind. When this case first started out, it wasn't 2 weeks into this case when people were chomping at the bit and getting at these cops. Why hasn't this been solved yet? I mean, bunches of people, man. And, investigations sometimes take a while, you got to go from one person to another, this and that. But everybody was clamoring and want to get this solved right away. Man,
I know what it was.
I hope they just didn't just pick this dude up like
And
a
that's
Richard
happened
Allen.
before. Public pressure from the residents, the constituents of that area will put that on you. But you had mentioned something interesting that I didn't pick up on. There's the video surveillance at the food truck.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that because there's cameras inside the food truck.
Yeah.
Had audio and video.
Yeah.
Obviously. Kaylee and Maddie were waiting there to get their food. And was it Kaylee?
It was Maddie.
Maddie turns around, points her finger
at this dude,
at a guy behind her, and says, "Fuck you."
Yeah. So this dude behind her, and people were, I don't know if anybody knows who this dude was. I don't know if it was that Showalter guy, whatever his name was, but nobody ever talks about it anymore. I mean, that was pretty direct, a fuck you. It didn't seem to me like she was playing. Like the dude might have said something to offend her or whatever. I don't know. I'm just interested in knowing, does anybody know who's deep into this case? Who in the heck was that guy? And did anybody ever think to ask him anything? That's pretty bizarre. Right before, a couple hours before you get murdered, you're telling some dude, fuck you.
Yeah.
So I would definitely at least want to check that dude out, I'm sure. Find out, what was the beef about? Or was you just joking? Maybe they knew each other well or something and they were just fucking around, but it didn't seem like that.
Right.
And there's a couple things, from back then. Like I remember when this case first started, everybody coming out saying when Kohberger was arrested, the first thing that he said to the cops was, "Have you arrested anybody else yet?" I remember people clearly stating that. I don't know if it's true. So if anybody knows, do a fucking dive on it or whatever.
Yeah.
That would be interesting to know. But I do remember hearing that a bunch at the time after he was arrested, that's what his statement was.
Penelope, welcome. She says that, BK, meaning Bryan Kohberger, with cheese, fits the bill well. Major incel energy.
I agree.
Removed from courses because women were complaining that he was just that creepy.
He fits the part.
He really does. We were talking about that, watching some clips, and he does have a very Ted Bundy type vibe to him.
Yeah, he does, and a very Adam Lanza. His eyes are, he's got the man, I'm going to kill you guys eyes. But I don't know the dude personally, obviously, but he does make a good suspect. I'm not saying for a second that he's not involved. I just want to know, is there more people involved? He put out this thing before for his psych class or whatever. It was this sheet that he put out online, wanting to know about people's experience with crime. Have you ever committed a crime? Did you get away with it? How did you feel when you were committing the crime? If you didn't get away with it, what would you do differently? And I don't know if that was some kind of recruitment tool for something. I don't know if that was just for his class, but those are pretty odd questions, especially coming from a guy who's accused of killing 4 people. Did he have more people with him? Was there people helping? Was there people help cover up? Why 8 hours to make a phone call? There's a lot of questions. And that's all they are, is questions. And all we can do is sit back and speculate, which is fun. And I enjoy doing it. But that's all we got. And I'm really interested in knowing more. I want them to find out who did it, obviously.
Penelope also says the guy we were talking about that she said "fuck you" to was cleared.
Good. Okay, we'll see.
Okay, that guy was cleared.
See, people can help us answer some questions. Just like I said, I haven't really looked into this deeply. It's just surface stuff.
Now here's something I have had. I was getting some messages on a past video that we did on Delphi. Mandy asked any input on the recently leaked crime scene photos from Delphi.
No, I have no idea.
Brandon Woodhouse search warrant.
Brandon Woodhouse. See, I'm behind the ball here.
I don't know. Too.
And yeah, I'll definitely be interested in knowing what's going on.
I'm actually looking at some things here. Let's see. What is this? Okay, there's the well, there's the actual, that actually looks like an F.
Is it the actual?
Yeah.
And where did this come from?
I do not know where this came from, but I am going to play this. This is the come on, share it. Thank you. This is an actual any input on Papa Roger and his hiding somewhere in shithole PA post. Also, the Papa Roger posts about the knife and sheath very early on. Man, we are so behind. You guys should have a show.
Yeah, you guys just come on here. You can help us out.
I know. Here's the here's some of the this is a little 40 seconds.
So it looks like the F that we've been hearing about from the defense that was on a tree by the crime scene, painted with Libby's blood. Well, this picture was leaked. Thank you, Matt. Matt Sullivan hooked me up with it. So what do you guys think? It's actually quite different than what Court TV source portrayed. This actually does look like an F painted with a finger. It doesn't look like it's just like blood splatter that naturally happened. It actually looks like it's smeared on there.
What we were being told it looked like. The depiction was it looked like blood.
I'm a little bit confused about that, but
like
here it is. Let me know what you guys think.
I know it would definitely make sense. Is a video of Patrick Westfall actually getting up in as high as he can on a tree and writing a ruin on it. There's no doubt that there's a lot more going on in Delphi, and we surely could talk more to that rather than we could Idaho, because Idaho, there's so much involved that I would have to go back and re-look at and things. Whereas Delphi, we've constantly been kind of keeping up on that to a point. Obviously, people do a lot more than we do.
So apparently, Bryan Kohberger's dad is hiding somewhere in a shithole PA.
What?
And that was in quotes. That was a post.
So he's in Scranton. No, I don't know.
Oh yeah, Mandy says, in her opinion, anyone else arrested, as you mentioned, was to plan his own reasonable doubt off the jump.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I swear, guys, we're normally more prepared than this, but there's been, and it's true because
so much stuff.
There's so much stuff with what's going on with Kohberger, and then we obviously get sidetracked with Delphi.
Yeah, I still get sidetracked with Jack the Ripper.
Well, we solved that. Jack T. Ripper. You put them together, Jack Tripper.
Jack Tripper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Delphi, a lot of I find similarities.
A lot of grasping at straws in both cases.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of hurrying, a lot of rushing. Well, not rushing in the Delphi case because it took him 6 years, but to go back to the beginning and just, it's this guy, he was there. Well, Kohberger, he was there. Which is good. If you got him there at the scene, then that's good.
That's a good start.
But in Delphi, especially, there's a lot more evidence, seems to me, that points to other people.
Mm-hmm.
What are they doing about that?
There's there's also the same. There's a lot of evidence that could point to more than one person in the Idaho 4 killings.
It takes, and I hate to be gruesome, but it takes a lot of effort to kill 4 people with a knife. You gotta be a pretty sturdy guy for sure. And not saying you can't. People have done it in the past. And people go to war and have swords back in the day and would kill multiple people in a war. It can happen. But it seems odd. Why? Maybe he was caught in the act by the other 2, and maybe he thought he had to get rid of him. But why not the other girl if he did see her? Why go to 2 rooms? Why is there a ladder up outside when earlier that day or a week or whenever it was prior, it wasn't up there like that? There's a lot of weirdness going on in both cases. I hear that the prosecution and the defense in the Idaho case doesn't want this to be televised.
They don't want the hearing to be televised. They don't want cameras in the courtroom. We're also seeing a similar battle in Delphi,
And Delphi, it seems like the defense wants all this to be seen.
which is
You know,
odd.
it is
as we've mentioned. Yeah, it's very odd that the defense would want it. Usually, the defense does not want it.
right. And they do, and the prosecution's saying, no, we don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
To
me, it's weird.
No, it's very weird.
My conspiracy theorist mind is glowing.
It's glowing.
It's glowing.
You've got the glow.
Past couple of years has been crazy in the true crime community. We got the Long Island serial killer, looks like, locked up. I mean, there's been some wild, there's a lot to keep up on.
Brandon Woodhouse, Mandy is just full of info here. Should have had her on the show.
Oh, hell yeah.
Brandon Woodhouse practices Odinism.
Oh, okay.
Was previously connected to Delphi Odinist, BH and PW.
Okay. Well, and he was arrested? Is that what she's saying? Or what's going on?
He had a search warrant.
Search warrant. Okay.
Yes.
Wow. I did hear on local Indiana news, I did hear a newscast saying that they believe that they are looking into all these guys again.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah,
we were talking about this the other day, man,
Yeah.
how public opinion, has swayed.
Public pressure can really help.
It really has. And, we have a lot of us out here who are, interested and want justice for Abby, Libby, the Idaho 4, which is why we delve into it so much and connect the dots. And now people much more, prepared than us, have really dove into it and has caused the Murder Sheet podcast.
That's great.
Local Indiana, podcast. Taking and getting the first set of documents released. I mean, that I don't remember any case where, high profile case to where a podcast or just, the internet talk has literally, swayed public opinion. And now, like you said, a lot of people are talking about this.
Yep, they are. And that, it makes it pressures them a bit. And let's go look at these guys again to make sure. You don't want the wrong person going to prison. And even if Richard Allen
although
did
they
it,
had quite a knee-jerk reaction, with Richard Allen.
Yeah, I believe so. If all they got is the bullet and the time that he was there, I mean, there was quite a few people in the area that day, 40, 50 people in the area that day. If Richard Allen was involved, not saying he wasn't, very well could have been. If there was other people involved, they need to go down through with him. Them two girls are sweethearts. Damn tragedy.
Yes.
That's why we kick back and talk about it. I mean, I'd love to talk about it with anybody too. I like to hear people's ideas. And the more you do that with other people and get it going, man, that's great. You could put pressure on people to actually get it solved the right way. This is not conspiracy theory territory. This is the stuff that makes conspiracy theories 10 years from now. If you don't get it right, you're going to have people looking back in 10 years and there's going to be your conspiracy theory wondering, did they do the right thing? Did they get it done right? Well, you can end all that right now by making sure all your bases are covered. Spare no expense.
Yeah.
Get the right people.
Penelope says, sorry, I'm a bit behind because I'm playing a game while I listen, but there was some serial killer arrested who said, quote unquote, did you arrest anyone else? I think it may have been BTK, but could be wrong.
I thought for sure I heard that with the Kohbergers. Like I said, it was probably just speculation on a podcast or something, but I do remember hearing it.
Joseph says also Delphi Doc said painted on a tree, not splatter. Core TV very much misled people with their recreation. And I agree, because now that we see the actual, photo of, the F on the tree, it very much does look like an F.
Yeah. And then put two together, you got Patrick Westfall in a video actually putting a ruin on the tree with his finger like that. You got these guys folding sticks up in these ruins and stuff and taking pictures of them
Stalling them.
before the murders even happened. You got this Elvis guy who knows these guys, admitting to his sisters that he was there. He spit on the girls.
Mhm.
Why wouldn't you take the biggest look at these guys over
Why
Richard
not?
Allen?
Yeah, exactly. Ruby State's public opinion seems more vocal than past years. I agree. Painted was chosen specifically. I guess that word.
Yeah.
Painted.
Yeah, because the description they show definitely just looked like
It
splatter.
looked like blood splatter.
If it is actually painted on, then it would
But
be
then,
like
but
what
then
Patrick
again,
Westphal
you can always discredit the whole blood splatter because there was nothing there at the crime scene,
right?
But there was a lot of blood on a car.
Yeah, a lot of blood on a car, on the side of a car that somebody's girlfriend had to wash several times to get it off the day after the murder.
Yeah.
So that just it brings into question, if they knew this the whole time and they had this investigation going on and could see what we're seeing, why did nothing come of it? Why is Richard Allen sitting in jail? Because of a bullet. Why?
Yeah.
I don't understand why these guys
a
more
bullet that has, and we've talked about, has no scientific validity.
I think it'll be shot down pretty quick myself.
I do too. I do too. What do you now we just switch gears slightly from Delphi. Kohberger's response is that as far as his alibi, just riding around, man, I do that at night. Yes, it seems to quote Drip Drop. I don't know if anybody follows crime circus cult
or something like that.
Something like
Drip Drop's calling Drip Drop.
Drip Drop. It is sus to us.
Don't get me wrong, Kohberger does make the perfect suspect.
He really
does.
If
you're out driving at time of night, you got your phone pinging off of there. All that's it brings it together for the one guy, but it can't be the only lead that you go down. It can't be the only path that you go down. It seems to me like they did that real quick.
Yeah.
This came together really fast within a month, and for a quadruple murder investigation, that's pretty quick. Not to say they just weren't on their game and did their police work great. Maybe they did. I'm just curious to what was up with the roommates. Was there anybody else involved? 4 people were murdered. 4 in the same house in different rooms. That's wild. It's something that you don't hear about too often.
No.
Not from one suspect, at least.
We're bouncing back and forth between Delphi and Idaho. And Mandy says, going back to Delphi, the room creation was actually created by Carroll County investigators.
What do you mean?
From Court TV. The creation, that blood, what looked like blood splatter, and given to Barbara McDonald, an investigative reporter, and she shared it with Court TV, misleading info coming out of Court CC Carroll County.
Yeah,
no surprise.
Not a surprise at all. I just looking at it a little bit, man. It's unbelievable the amount of corruption that's even on the surface there in Carroll County,
and it's well documented even before.
It is.
This is a small, Delphi, small, only 3,000 people in it, so it's very, you get that good old boy type, mentality, if you ask me, where you can just pretty much get away with anything and cover it up.
You got to look into, you got a place like, I live in a place that has about 3,000 people myself. And in a place like that, you do a lot of stuff together with the people in your neighborhood. There's bowling leagues, there's golf leagues, there, just the stuff, Mason, the Masonic Lodge, VFWs, you get to know people in your community really well, if you hang out all the time.
Right.
So who knows what they could be hiding for each other. And it does happen. Especially in small towns like that, people are going to stick up for their friends and they got their cliques and all that stuff. And, if you're a 33rd degree Mason, let's just say, and you are the big wig around the lodge, and all these other, the judge is a part of the lodge and everything, they're not going to say nothing about you.
No, yeah. I mean, and again, it's very, very easy to take and mislead, hide things,
Yeah.
suppress evidence,
Mhm.
falsify documents, which we've already seen in Delphi, in order to get that search warrant.
Yeah, people shouldn't put anybody, whether they're cops or anybody, on too much of a pedestal, because at the end of the day, human beings are human beings.
Human beings are human beings, and they
They're fallible.
they have special interest. Some of them have special interests, not all of them, but some of them have special interests that and involved in groups or sects.
Yeah.
I can't. Sect.
Yeah. Cults.
Cult. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they may be involved in sex. I don't know. But and it makes it very easy to cover up. I mean, we're seeing that.
In a town like Delphi, when it's already been proven that there's a lot of corruption, it's obviously going on there.
Yeah. No, I don't personally believe that there are. It was an Odinist thing in Idaho, although another drip drop was he showed and this is an interesting connection. I don't know if anybody remembers the ranch guy. You remember the Brady?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Bundy.
Bundy. Yeah.
Bundy Ranch standoff with the FBI.
Yeah. This guy was running for mayor, I think.
Governor.
It was governor.
He's running for governor of
Idaho, and put out a campaign video that literally, shows him pulling up to a ritual.
Yep.
And it has about 6 guys, dressed in cloaks and have, mask on around a fire. And he's going to stomp them all out. He's very anti-Freemason, anti-cult. That seemed kind of odd to me. I don't know if I fully subscribe to Odinist and that whole sacrifice, type theory with Idaho.
All I could say is there's weird things going on in this country, and there's weird things going on in this world. And for a governor to run a campaign based on "I'm going to get rid of these cults" is pretty odd.
That is pretty odd. We don't see that very often. Usually it's shitting on their political opponent. Yeah. Now, I guess maybe indirectly he is. Who knows?
Yeah. Exactly. These
maybe that seems odd to me. If anybody has any info on this guy or the cults, if there are any in Idaho, is that a big thing? I know potatoes are a big thing.
Yeah. Well, just remember what Bundy was famous for. The government was trying to take his ranch, and it's a ranch that his family has owned for a long, long time.
Yeah, I remember.
And he's the one who put his foot down. He said the government was coming over in helicopters and shooting his cattle and things like that, trying to scare him off the land. Well, then they had all these, what do you call them? I would say, I guess, militia, local and national militia, show up at his house, and they had a face-off, a standoff with the FBI, and the FBI actually backed down. And he got in a lot of trouble for things. A couple of people around him were killed, that were sticking up for him and things like that over the years. This guy's running for governor, and he's running on the campaign of "I'm getting rid of these evil satanic cult people." That's his campaign.
So it must be a problem.
Where did his information with all the stuff that he went through, how did that lead him to that? Maybe he found out where the power really came from. And you could tell it in places like Delphi and maybe even Idaho, where you got these smaller communities, and all these people know each other, and they're like, nope, we're going to stick up for each other, even if it means that you killed 2 little kids. because maybe they're just that bad and evil of people. Maybe they just don't care that much. Who knows? It's all conspiracy in my head, but I like conspiracy and I like to have those conversations.
Yeah.
It'll lead you somewhere, even if it's crazy.
Penelope says, Richard Allen's biggest issue will be his confessions, but I think it's pretty obvious that his mental health took a huge dive, eating paper, mumbling, asking about family, which may get that thrown out. Well, I mean, a lot of people, are, well, no, he's just saying that he was coerced to try and switch the blame like it's some kind of defensive tactic to eat his own words or cover up. I think I'd still like to see pictures of these correction officers who have these patches.
Yeah.
And who the hell are the cowboys in Idaho?
Yeah, I know. I want to know that too.
I keep going back and forth, man.
Because it's corrupt. Everything just seems like it's so corrupt everywhere, and you just can't get an honest answer out of anybody.
I know.
I got change falling all over the place.
Man, you don't have to leave a tip.
You're getting one.
And that's why I think that we kind of coupled these two cases together for a brief discussion, is because of just all the ridiculousness. I mean, for one, you have a case. Penelope says Old Boys Club is no surprise in a town that size. Absolutely.
Not at all. It happens. It
really
really
does, man.
We got things like the Lions Club and all kinds of stuff around here.
Yeah.
That's what they do. It's a bunch of guys getting together, and you don't really know what the hell's happening in there.
Right. These two cases have such, you got no DNA either site, Delphi or Idaho. You have in Delphi, of course, you have Richard Allen, who is, his only fault, I guess, would be going to the police 5-6 years ago saying, hey, I was on the bridge. I didn't see anybody. Yeah, I was there around that time. I mean, maybe he was just trying to help somebody out.
Yeah, if he would have never said that, we wouldn't be looking at him right now.
We would not be looking at him if that. In fact, they said that's the only way that the police knew that he was even there.
Yeah,
nobody probably would have ever known that he was there.
Right.
If he wouldn't have came out and said, now, why would anybody incriminate themselves like that?
He could have very well, like we speculated before, the other 3 girls saw him, and maybe he thought, well, just to cover my bases, I'm going to let him know I was here, and didn't know that the video and the picture existed and stuff. So I could just tell you what I'm wearing. But the girl who saw the guy on the bridge described him as a 20-year-old guy. Didn't appear to have any facial hair, had poofy hair.
Brad Holder's son.
Yeah, right on. So what's going on, man? And why all the shadiness over it? Why does the prosecution not want to have it televised? But the defense does. The defense has something to say.
Yeah.
And they want everybody to hear it.
They want everybody to hear it.
And the prosecution doesn't want anybody to hear it. What's going on?
The judge steps down.
In Idaho, neither side want it televised. Maybe they're all good old boys on both sides of the fence there in Idaho, as you say.
Man.
Who knows? But it does seem weird. It's all conspiracy. But, you got to look at every side of it, even if it is just a conversation.
You can't leave any stone unturned.
Yeah, we can blow the stupid stuff off later when more facts show themselves. Sure. But for right now, there's nothing wrong with having a conversation.
No. And that's all we're doing. And, we appreciate, you guys joining in on the discussion.
Yeah, they brought some stuff to our attention that I'll be looking into later.
Absolutely. No. And that's what I love about this, community, is that, they, we're all doing whatever, we can. We're all being armchair detectives. Penelope also says, I think the fact that they didn't investigate or further investigate after someone said they can explain DNA at the site is very concerning. They may not have even attempted to obtain DNA swabs off her body.
Yeah, either that or the sticks that they didn't collect. Maybe you spit on the bodies and it landed on the sticks and they didn't collect it. Either way, how are you ever going to be able to explain away spitting on a dead girl?
Yeah.
There's just no way. How I'm interested in hearing how he's going to explain that. I want to hear it.
Yeah.
Come on, Elvis.
Come on.
Too much monkey business.
That's right. Manny says because CC is motherfucking corrupt as a painted over rotten apple.
I absolutely 100% agree.
Yes,
it is.
And that's, we don't know, at least I don't, know about the level of corruption there in Moscow.
I don't know either.
So
something to look into.
Are these, similar in that?
Yep.
Not, and when I say, similar, it's not that, the same people were responsible for both. There's something going on in the true crime world.
Yeah. It's getting to the point now where I'm thinking whenever you see a crime like this has 2 or more people, somebody got away, you should probably go right ahead and start looking at the lodge. Why not? These are bizarre things that are going on. Killing 2 little girls on a bridge, they were just walking across having a good day, killing 4 people in their home at 4 o'clock in the morning and leaving other 2 just alive. There's weird things going on. You got the cowboys coming in there, going right up into the building where even the camera guy and the woman who are there doing the reporting are looking at them going, who in the hell are these guys? And then they ask them and they don't tell them anything. They just walk right past with their heads low. Why be so shady?
Yeah.
Do we really live in a spy novel or anything? This is not a movie. They don't have to be shady like that. It's weird.
Wow. This is interesting. Penelope says, I find it surprising that the surviving roommate did not smell blood.
Yeah, you can't smell it. It smells metallic.
Yeah. If you've ever been around a large amount of blood, it stinks, especially if the person was drinking. And these are great points. And that said, I don't think the survivor has anything to do with it other than being scared, probably drunk college kid. And I'm there, and we're from my point of view, we're not, really implicating them. It's just curious as to why, maybe a lack of life situation.
Maybe just shit-faced drunk, got up when she heard the noise, saw the guy and passed out in bed. It could be that too. I don't know.
Didn't think much of it. Maybe the noises she heard was common in a party house.
Could have been. But if she was scared, like she said,
welcome, Mr. Nanners.
Like I said, if she was scared, why didn't she just at least reach out to one of her roommates and say, is everything okay?
Yeah.
I'm scared something weird's going on. Didn't do that. I mean, I think that would just be something that I think
it seems like a normal response to us, but we can speculate on what a normal response would be.
Maybe she's
in that situation, but we really don't know how you're going to act.
We don't, and don't know what she was on or anything. Don't know none of that stuff. So it's hard to say.
They did say that toxicology reports for the victim stated that there were no drugs in their system. There was obviously drinking because they came from the bar. Maddie and Gailey came from the bar, hit the food truck.
Yeah, it's a weekend.
Ethan and Zana were at his sorority house having a party there. So they were all drinking.
God, for it too, man. You remember being that age, man, a partying like that? That was good times.
Oh,
they're just out having some good times, man.
Sure,
making memories.
Mandy mentions, not to mention what happened to Indiana State officer polygrapher Stephanie Thompson and her daughter murdered in an unsolved arson.
Yes,
Florida 4 arson, murdered 4 little girls. TikTok, Carroll County.
Yep, absolutely. That is bizarre. We were talking about that a couple episodes ago.
Yeah,
that is very weird.
Penelope said, well, did she have her phone? Was it charged? No one seems to consider. Maybe she didn't have any way to contact anyone.
She was
if she was scared shitless. Now she was
texting.
She was texting Bethany. So we do know that there was communication
she had a
between
phone.
the two surviving,
Yeah.
and maybe they talked each other down. That's
Yeah.
nothing.
And maybe
Don't
we
worry about it.
and like I said, we don't know everything yet. Maybe it'll
Yeah.
come out and we'll read the reports and it'll say they were texting back and forth about, hey, you hearing these noises in the house? Maybe they were doing stuff and we just don't know yet.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. No, not throwing them under the bus in any way, shape, or form. Again, all just friendly speculation
Yep.
for discussion
Yep.
purposes.
Just throw things out there. You never know. Somebody else is going to have another piece to the puzzle and everybody just bring it all together.
Yeah, exactly.
But the pressure's doing a good thing here in Delphi, especially. And I think they should probably apply a little bit more in Idaho as well. Let's make sure the people were caught who deserve to be caught, get some justice for people so that it doesn't become a conspiracy theory later on.
Ruby mentioned someone suggested that Moscow survivors wanted to get rid of drugs.
Maybe spending 8 hours doing a little cleanup, possibly. Yeah,
possibly. Penelope says it's really horrific what some people, not you guys, are saying about those poor surviving girls. It is. People, I've seen shows where, when it comes to Delphi, actually going after
family members,
and that's not what we're here for.
Nope, this is just speculation and curiosity. I'm just curious about what they have to say about that.
Yeah. And
I don't believe they were involved myself.
Lastly, Mandy Ray, because remember we were going to do a show on Jamie Kloss.
Yeah.
And we got sidetracked with the Delphi. Mandy says, hey, are you guys going to do a live on Jamie Kloss? I was really looking forward to that. And I'm sorry. Yes, we are.
Yeah.
In fact, you know what? I'll say it right here. We'll do that next week.
We'll do Jamie Kloss.
We'll do Jamie Kloss next week because that's a good one.
Yeah,
I mean, not good. It's quite horrible, but
yeah, it is horrible, absolutely awful.
No,
she's alive.
That's an amazing story, actually. With a happy ending, I guess you could say. It's certainly possible. You may think drugs are nothing compared to the murders, but remember, they are kids. First of all,
sure.
She also adds, second of all, I know someone who almost died in a car accident and was worried about having illegal cigarettes in their car.
Yeah.
More than anything, people have strange priorities sometimes. No, absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's getting interesting though.
Yeah.
It really is. I can't wait to find out a little bit more. I'm ready to see some justice served.
Yes.
In both those cases. It's just so interesting.
It's going to take a while, and luckily we do have a lot of good YouTubers, content creators, whatever out there. Grizzly True Crime, Murder Sheet, Drip Drops channel. They do some really good deep dives, and they ask questions that may not pan out to anything.
Right.
A lot of our speculation may not pan out to anything other than speculation. And that's because, as we've mentioned numerous times, we don't know.
Yeah, no idea.
So we're throwing, okay, well, what about this? And then the other person says, yeah, that's interesting. What about this? And then all of a sudden you start connecting dots. And that's basically, what we're here for, just to connect some dots.
I don't know if the defense in Delphi knew exactly what they were getting themselves into when they released those documents, how many people were really interested in this. But man, it's got a lot of people talking, and it definitely has some pressure applied to them to do the right things, no matter where it leads them to, even if it's some of their own. The right people have to go down for it, no matter who they are.
Yeah.
Or how many.
It could that house of cards in good old corrupt Carroll County, I got a feeling is going to be coming down one by one.
Yeah, I think it is.
And I think this case, Delphi being is is the catalyst
to
to really take it down. Unfortunately,
yeah.
2 young girls had to suffer the ultimate, price. For
We've been waiting for 6 years, man, for answers on that. And don't want the wrong answers. We want the right ones. It's taken 6 years, even if it takes another year or two, make it right. Do what you got to do. Get the right people.
Yeah,
that's the way it should always be in every case. But without pressure, a lot of times it isn't.
What we are seeing, as it was mentioned in the chat, we are seeing a lot of a lot of public pressure, a lot of people taking and really doing some diving. It just average Joes and Janes like us, man, just connecting the dots. And it's actually swayed. I mean, people out here, we're not law students, been to court a couple times. Penelope says that is exactly why RA's team wants this all filmed. Yeah. They're gonna take down this defense. I don't think had any idea, like you said, that this was going to go this way.
Yeah.
I tell you what, if I ever get in trouble, I want Richard Allen's defense team.
It makes me wonder about Doug Carter too, because he said on a couple of occasions a couple things that are ringing true today. Almost like he might be on the defense side on this. He said, for one, I hope the girls, wherever they're at, heaven, I hope they appreciate the work that they're doing today, and that there's more going to come out of it. He's alluded to the fact that there may be more people involved along the way as well. And maybe he's encouraging the defense to do something about it. Maybe he knows something.
And yes, Mandy, we were aware that Carroll County prosecutor Nick McClellan is a Mason.
Yes,
he's a Freemason.
A lot of Masons in Carroll County.
The town seems to be run by him.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Pretty odd, brother.
So I think we're gonna call it a show. Yes, Mandy. Next week we will talk about Jamie Kloss. We started to talk about it even has the the little picture of Jamie. We were going to talk about that, and then all this stuff about
these new
cults and sacrifice and all these documents came out, and we got very, very sidetracked. So but that is what we'll talk about next week, the Jamie Kloss. And we'll update, if anything comes out. Thank you, Ruby. Thank you, Mandy, Penelope, everybody who joined us today.
Much love, y'all. Much love.
And we will we'll see you guys next Monday talking Jamie Kloss. Have a good day, guys.